yes, the statement, the official statement came from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, confirming that this attack by Al-Houthi and accusing Al-Houthi for this attack.
This is the second hostile act committed by the Houthis against the UAE. Just yesterday, they refused to heed a UN Security Council resolution to free an Emirati ship that they are still holding. Again, what is your response to be to this continued aggression?
I think this is because of the big losses in Shabwa and Ma'rib, and especially that the oil fields has been taken from Al-Houthi, which is so painful for Al-Houthi. And this is behind the attack against the ship, the Emirati ship, and this drones sent to UAE. But the question is, this kind of drones, which is small ones, in my view, cannot cross that long distance. This needs big drones, and might be it came from neighborhood, which I'm saying from the sea, from one who is supporting Al-Houthi.
So you don't think this came from the actual territory of Yemen?
I'm not, of course, I'm not expert or technical expert in the drones. But this is, to my knowledge, based on many incidents I've seen in the world, that the small drones cannot carry all these long distance. It needs the big drones, which is in the case of UAE, this is very small ones, which it means it came from the sea, it came from one of the neighborhood. I cannot accuse a country, but this is, and maybe this is also, if somebody, you might interview somebody expert in the drones to explain that.
Now, the UN recently said that the Houthis are most likely being armed by Iran, your neighbour, a country you do have relations with. Do you consider this to be an attack then by Tehran?
You know, I cannot, but I was also telling one of the TV channels that the Iranian endangering their situation which they are trying to have a rapprochement with Saudi, with UAE, and by this uncalculated step, they are endangering the whole situation that they cannot move on in this relation. Although, yes, we do have business relation with Tehran, and still this business relation is going. But I mean, the Iranian and the latest month, they are trying to have that kind of rapprochement with UAE, and there was a cooperation regarding the environment, regarding water. So if this happened by Iran, it might happen by one part of IRGC, whom they are not happy with the relation between UAE and Israel, and they're thinking that UAE did not do enough towards Iran in terms of pushing Israel away from the Gulf.
So do you think then that it might be a result of your closer ties with Israel?
It is not directly because of that, okay? It is because they were, and this is my own perspective, they think that that rapprochement with the UAE did not come on the account of the relation between Israeli and UAE. This is the IRGC, some of them, this is their perception.
You are a strong ally of the United States. Have you had a message of support from Washington following this attack?
I heard accusing that attack, but not supporting UAE. And of course, I would say that was the Biden administration mistake when they undesignated Houthi as a terrorist group like Trump administration did. This shows how dangerous this group, and there is no way not to support these countries whom they are U.S. ally, okay, not to providing them with the high tech in this field, drones or dome protection.
How do you intend to prevent further attacks? Would you consider closer military cooperation with Israel?
I think we are cooperating with Israel, or we have some cooperation regarding identifying the drones. But this is definitely will push UAE to more cooperation with Israel regard the defense system against the drones or ballistic missiles.
Will this change the UAE's level of support for the Saudi-led coalition fighting the Houthis in Yemen?
I don't think so. I don't think this will. This is it might have an opposite impact, pushing UAE to more support for the Yemenis fighting, I mean, what they call them, Tariq Saleh group against al-Houthi.
The southern forces?
Yeah, the southern and the northern forces also, Tariq Saleh, the giants, what they call them, the giants.
And just briefly, international trade is really important to your country. Are the Houthis now a threat to trade and security in your part of the world?
It is always, even for Israel, it's a threat in the Red Sea, and Al-Mandab part. Houthi is threatening the whole world, the European, the American, because these routes of it's carrying energy, carrying goods, so it's not only for UAE. And I think the whole world should realize that.